Okay, so let's talk about what's going on. I want to do the trailer training part 3, trailer training without a trailer. But let's talk about boog for a minute. So I am doing a montage video. I am doing a montage video of boog. I am gonna give it away. I wasn't gonna give it away, but it's just saddling for a week and working on his progress. So I'm gonna do it into like a montage. So today was day 1. I want to talk about day 1 before you guys see it, so that when you see it, you kind of understand what was going on. He has a problem with not wanting to go into the canter and keeping the canter. So you'll notice when you watch the video next week, or whenever it comes out, it should be next week, maybe Saturday, it depends on how good he's doing and what's going on. But anyways, he has the issue of going into the canter and not keeping it. I really have to get after him to go into that canter on the lunge line. But when you see me take him off the lunge line later in the video, he goes into the canter really easily. So after the video, I want to talk about what happened. I cut the video off because I wanted him to wear the saddle around for a while. But what happened was I went and worked with him on the canter. Since I have to chase and chase and chase and spank and spank and spank to get him to keep and get the canter. So what I did was I went up closer to the fence, so that if this is the center of the ring and here's the fence, it's kind of like that, and he was going in between, so that there was a section where he couldn't pull out to avoid going faster, because he has a tendency, if he doesn't want to go faster, you guys will see his nose come in, his butt go out, and he just kind of drags out. So I've been working on that, but it's really hard at a faster pace in snow and slush to get him to turn right then and there. And you'll notice a few times, I think, I haven't edited it yet, he doesn't want to turn. I really have to get in there and turn him. I might have not gotten that on film. I don't remember what I got on film. But we got it to the point where we worked on it for about 20 minutes. And every time he would take a couple canter steps, he would get to stop and rest for about a minute and a half. If he was breathing really heavy, I just dropped the rope and I went and got a drink or something. Don't worry, I was out there with him. I had a drink out in the barn. And just gave him a rest. And then we went back and did it again. I got him to the point where each time I would have him take a couple more steps. And I got him to the point at the end where I just pointed and asked with the line on, and he went straight into the canter for a lap. So I left it at that. So what I did after that was I went in and did my softening drills, which is yielding the hindquarters, picking up the feet, flexing, yielding the forequarters, backing up, and side passing. I did a couple of those, not all of them, but those are some. And then after that, I took off his halter, put it back on. Just kind of worked on that for a minute to see if he was flinchy or not, because sometimes when I take it off, even though he's soft, he's kind of flinchy still. So I just practiced taking it on and off for about 1 or 2 times. After that, I tied him up. I need to practice tying him up more, because if he's going to be a pack horse and a camping horse and all that, he's going to be sometimes tied to a tree at night. And so he has to be tied. And he can tie good, but he hasn't done it for a long period of time yet. So after each session now for about 20 minutes, I'm leaving him there tied. Sometimes he's tired, so it kind of helps him stay quiet, and sometimes he's not tired. I'll just do some flexing, some yielding, and then tie him up. And it just teaches him patience. What happened after that, it really shocked me. He hasn't done this since he first got here. So I untied him. I didn't catch it on film. It all happened so quick. Keep in mind, I'm out there with him the entire time he's standing there tied. I was on my phone watching YouTube, and I'm out there with him, and there's no animals, there's nothing. There's some snow falling off the roof, but he's used to that. So I go in and I untie him. Well, when I went in, he jumped and dragged back, like almost like he didn't know that I was there. And I think he was just kind of dozing off, and I spooked him. So that I kind of ignored. What was really weird after that was I went to take him out of the round pen. And as soon as I did that, he ran through the round pen fence, which he has not done in a very, very, very long time. So he ran through, So I went back and sent him back and forth a couple of times, and he was still rushing through, dragging me on either side, and I'm not sure what was going on. So I worked that through until he was quiet. Just kept sending him back and forth until he was walking in and out with a low head and just going slow instead of rushing. Okay, after that I was going to take off the halter. Well, what does he decide? He decides he doesn't want to go inside of the barn with me, which is where he eats, where he lays down, where his salt lick is, where his grain is, everything. And he decided that he didn't want to go in. And I just wanted him to come up so I could take off the halter. So he came in, and as I reached for the halter, he drugged me and took off running and slipped and just about fell. And so I'm kind of looking at him like, what is wrong with you? So after that, he kept dragging me. So I used the support posts in the barn as leverage, and every time he just kept dragging me through and didn't turn, I let that rope hit that pole and pull him back over, and I just kept sending him back and forth, back and forth, back and forth until he quieted down, lowered his head, and walked. Again, he settled down. I brought him up to me, and I go to take off the halter, and he just ran backwards, dragged the hell out of me out into the pasture by those tires. And so I was like, you know what? Screw it. We're going to work again. I was going to be done with you, and now you're acting like this. So I just continued to lunge him, and every time he got tight on the line, I'd switch his direction. And then after he finally settled down, I went to yield his hindquarters and just get him a little bit softer. I wanted him to be really, really quiet when I let him go. I didn't want it to be, okay, I just worked you, now you're quiet, I'm turning you loose. I wanted him to kind of pay attention and be soft and quiet. So I was yielding his hindquarters, yielding his forequarters, flexing. I went to flex on the right-hand side under saddle, and I wasn't under saddle, but under saddle it'd be the right-hand side. And he did great. So I went on the left-hand side, was just going to do one flex, and I went to flex him, and he nipped at me. So I spanked him on the butt one time with the rope and chased him around 2 or 3 laps. When he finally settled down, I asked him to flex again. Then he finally stopped. He was quiet again. So after that, I took him into the barn, take off the halter. As soon as I took off the halter, he took off running. I'm sitting here thinking, what is going on with him? He has not acted like that in a long time. So I was like, all right, whatever. You know, he was quiet for me when I took off the halter. He waited till I left before he took off. I'm going to leave him alone. So I put up his halter, and I go over, and I'm going from the barn to go to the water trough to the gate to break the gate, or to break the water open, because it's like 30 degrees out here, so it keeps freezing. So I'm going that direction. I hear the snow crunching behind me, and I look behind me. He's trotting to keep up with me and followed me right to the gate and just kind of leaned on me and nuzzled on me and loved on me. Like, okay, we're good now. And I'm sitting here thinking, like, I don't understand what happened or why he suddenly started behaving like that. It could have been, you know, he was just, I don't know what it could have been. He could have been just tired and just wanting to not work, which I wasn't planning on to continue the work. It could have just been he doesn't feel good, because they have days where they don't feel good. Could have been a lot of things, but he's out there fine now. I went out there, and as I'm leaving, he followed me out, wanted attention, gave him attention. He's perfectly happy now, perfectly fine. So just know that everything isn't always perfect with horses.